How's it going, everyone? Matt Layton, and welcome back to another real estate video. Hey, so in today's video, we're going to be looking at running comps or looking at comparable properties. Now, before we get into the 5 factors to look at, I want to touch base on why we would actually run comps in the first place. Well, it probably breaks down into one of 3 categories. One, you're a listing agent, you're going to talk with the seller to figure out what to put that property on the market for, what to list it for. So you want to look at what other homes have sold for in the neighborhood. Or 2, maybe you're a real estate investor and you're looking at the after repair value for your next flip, your next deal. Or 3, most likely you're a retail buyer and you want to make sure that the house that you're buying is not overpriced. You want to make sure that you're getting a really good deal. So with that being said, you hopefully fall into one of those 3 categories. Let's jump into the factors right now. Number 1 is location. So guys, obviously location is the most important thing. We're not gonna spend that much time on it because hopefully you already know this. But listen, if you're a condo, stay in that condo development. If you're in a townhouse, stay in that townhouse subdivision. I was talking to a townhouse seller the other day. They brought me a comp. It was down the street. I was thinking to myself, yeah, of course this one's higher. It's got a pool, it's got a rooftop deck, it's got all. So guys, if you're a condo or townhouse, be sure you're staying in your own kind of building, your own community. And then, if you're a single family house, if you're a duplex, a row home, just a regular house, be sure that you're starting with a small radius and then work out from there, maybe about a half mile or hopefully under a mile. But be sure you're conscious of maybe houses on a busy road, houses that are next to a fire station or next to a large like school or arena, because houses like this, they could throw off your numbers. They could be much lower or much higher depending on, if there's a park right behind it. So you have to kind of take in these external factors. And then finally, you got to be conscious about the highways. A house might be 2 blocks away from the subject property, but if the 2 blocks is like a 4-lane highway in between those 2 houses, those neighborhoods might be completely different. So, if you're searching from out of town, be sure you're conscious of this. And then, hopefully if you're searching in your town, you kind of know the area and you're always staying in the same neighborhood. Number 2 is size. So in this scenario, size matters. And the important numbers you want to look at are total square footage, bedrooms, full bathrooms, half bathrooms, and levels. Also, when you're looking at the basement, is that basement square footage listed separately or is it combined with the total square footage? Sometimes guys, when the basements are so large, what agents will do and owners is put in that square footage of the basement into the house. You're like, wow, this house is huge, but then half the square footage is in the basement, which is maybe not ideal for what you're looking for. So when you start comparing these properties, be careful, because if you're comparing a 4-level house to maybe a 2-level house or a 4-bathroom house to a house that has 2.5 bathrooms, the numbers, it's going to be very hard to put those on an equal and level playing field. But hey, sometimes those are the only comps you have. So if that's the case in your market, figure out kind of how much a full bathroom is worth, or how much a half bath, or how much a basement, a finished basement is worth. I don't know the answer. You're gonna have to figure that out in your own market, but always be sure, if you're not comparing, a 4-bedroom, 3,000 square foot house to the exact same thing, maybe it's 2 levels with a basement and then this one has something out back, maybe a pool or a deck. Always try to factor in those extra items so you're always on a level playing field when it comes to the size of the property. Number 3 is recency. Okay, so for this one, some of you may disagree with me. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below, but hear me out on this one. My goal for comparable properties is to find the most similar and the most recent property. Sounds fair enough. So what I'll do is I'll look back about 6 months. In that time frame, my goal is to find about 4 to 6 properties that will fit that subject property that are similar. But hey, listen, if I can't find enough properties in the 6 months, I may go back 10 months. I may go back even a year. I know, crazy talk, going back a year to find a property. What's wrong with me? Well, here's the deal. 2017, what was the market like? I don't know, the exact same. It didn't crash last year. It hasn't crashed this year. It was maybe a 1% increase, maybe a 2% increase. So sometimes I'm selling an expensive property. Sometimes it's a unique property with ocean views or river views or monument views, whatever it may be. And if something hasn't sold in the past 6 months, I don't want to grab a bad comp. I'd rather grab an older comp and then kind of add the value for the increase in the market or lower the value for the decrease in the market. Obviously, the goal is to find something within the past 6 months. Hopefully, if you're in a populated area, that's going to be no big deal, but maybe look back a year, see what they were going for last year, and then add back in how much the market has increased. You'd be surprised because sometimes agents will roll their eyes at you if you bring up a comp like an agent did a while ago. But then I asked her, well, how much has the market increased over the past year? She said, oh, maybe 6%, but her listing price was about 20% higher. So I asked her, did the market increase 20%? Why is yours listed 20% higher than, oh, this, that, and the other? She's getting a little defensive, but eventually we got to a point where it's like, okay, last year's comp, probably not the best comparable property, but the market probably hasn't increased 20% since that last comp sold, which is what, you know, her subject property was listed for. Do you see where I'm getting with this? The goal, guys, stay within 6 months, but if it's something unique, if it's an expensive property or unique property, don't be afraid to go back about a year or so, or after 6 months. I know, hopefully the real estate people don't arrest me for using comps from over 6 months ago. Go back and then add back in how much the market has changed. Number 4 is upgrades. Guys, we've gone through 3 factors so far. We haven't even entered the house yet. We're still on the outside. We're still outside the front door doing the bird's eye, trying to find the right houses, the right townhouses, the right units for the comparable properties. Because, you know, honestly, the inside is good, but we want to make sure we have all the other factors right before we even step inside. We're not just comparing, okay, granite, no granite, carpet, hardwood floors, all that's important, but we want to make sure that the location's good, the recency is good, and whatnot. So when you are looking at the upgrades, things to look at, obviously renovated kitchens, renovated bathrooms, full basements, fully finished basements, any sort of outdoor deck, patio, sunroom, pool, yard, landscaped, garage. You're gonna have to figure out these factors for yourself and how much they're worth in each neighborhood. But the goal of this is, don't just, you know, figure out, all right, granite countertop, don't care what neighborhood. The neighborhood matters, because honestly, the granite countertop, that renovated house in the worst neighborhood, you know, the dirt in the most expensive neighborhood, the dirt is probably worth more than like the best house in the worst neighborhood. So make sure your external factors are correct before moving forward. Number 5 is Wildcard. I'm gonna call this one the outlier. Maybe you're looking at a property that's on 5 acres when all the other houses are just on 1 acre. Or maybe you're looking at a condo that has a rooftop patio, terrace where you can walk around, and all the other condos are Juliet balconies. My advice, figure out all those other external factors, you know, location, size, make sure it's a recent property, and then try to add in this extreme value add of the extra land or of the rooftop patio, terrace with a nice view and whatnot. Hopefully that's not your subject property. You know, the outlier is not your subject property. What you'll most likely find is that if you're searching for comparable properties, you find one that's very different. What are you going to do? You're going to throw it out. Don't try to force it in there and, you know, maybe try to do some crazy equation to bring it back to, you know, relevancy. You may just want to end up throwing it out. So if it's too out there, if it's too wild, too much of a wild card, just throw it out. But what you could do is also look back in time, see if any other homes have sold that were 5 acres, see if any other condos sold recently, maybe in the past couple of years, and then try to factor in the increase or the decrease in market to help make your numbers make a little more sense. All right, so those are my 5 factors on how to run comps. Listen, I hope that was helpful. You might be thinking, well, how do I actually do it? I have the property. How do I actually literally run comps? Let's dive into my computer right now and I'll show you how to do that. So what we want to do is we want to fire up the old desktop, go over to Zillow. Zillow's the site that I've found. It has, you know, varying degrees of accuracy, but what I like about it is once you create an account and you sign in, you can easily zoom in on a neighborhood. What we're going to do is we're going to find this house right here, and then it's cool because we can actually search by recently sold, so we bring in relevant properties so you can instantly see, okay, this house sold recently for this amount, that house sold for that amount. We can do a little new tab action, open them up in some new tabs, and then compare them head to head to see, you know, this active property we have right here, to see how this active property compares to, 4 bedrooms, how many square feet, and you have all the main details right there. And then finally, if you want to look at the upgrades, you can go and scroll through the pictures. So that's just real quick overview, 5 factors to look at on how to run comps, and then literally how to start running comps. So I really hope this video was helpful. If it was, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, create a productive day. Take care.